win in the weather thing today. Yay. I enjoy winning too, by the way. It is Monday, 8th of April. And believe me, I'm absolutely elated. Really, really elated to meet today's feature artist. Well, I tell you what, let's get this underway. That's right, you're right here at galaxy107fm, and so very, very happy to have you on board. I really, really am. If you're a first-time viewer, nice to have you, especially on board. It really, really is. Now, I tell you what, if you haven't become a member yet, why not do this? And I think you'll find it absolutely fascinating. What you do is you sub, thumb, bell, right? Notifications when we have important people, much like today's artist, and believe me, you're going to absolutely love her. You really, really are. Sub, you know what to do with that. Subscribe. Become part of the family. We call it the noise here at Galaxy, simply because you have a voice. You do. And believe me, we get all your medias, phone calls, emails, you name it. We get the lot. And that's how we structure a lot of our shows, especially the breakfast show. And today's artist is a regular feature on my breakfast show. Believe me, absolutely fascinating. Really, really are. So, without further ado, tell you what, let's get it underway. Here's Apple of My Eye. You're right here at Galaxy. Good morning. So, just while we're getting into it, gosh, what do we got here? Okay, fair enough. Devices, don't you love them? They're everywhere. So, can I get you to pronounce that again for me properly?
Sure. Anjali.
Anjali.
Yep.
Anjali.
It's like understand.
Right.
Anjali.
Anjali. Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very
That's
cool.
pretty.
It's pretty.
Very cool. By the way, I'm loving the knickknacks on the back of on top of the piano.
Oh, yeah. So I've got my Ganeshas here.
Uh-huh.
The remover of obstacles. I picked this up in India on one of my trips many, many years ago. And it's, you'll walk down the streets, the markets they have on the streets, and you'll see all sorts of things. And I absolutely fell in love with this set. It's Ganesha playing all kinds of different instruments.
Awesome.
And I said, I simply must have that.
I don't blame you. I really don't. Dear, oh dear, we got quite a few on board this morning. Frank Blair's joining us. Nice to have you on board, Frank.
Yeah, that meat should be ready. No.
Another hour or so.
Sorry,
Just wondering,
that was Ted. Anyway, carry on.
I don't smoke fish and I don't smoke meat. I eat both. I don't smoke it, really. Michael Zdanowicz is on board as well. Nice to have you on board, Mike. It really, really is. We were just having a chat earlier on. I see not enough. The boss is watching. Gosh, I better be
Coro
nice.
Dowie's watching. Hi, Coro.
Coro Dowie! Kia ora katoa.
Dane Watson is watching.
Nice to have Coro Dowie on board.
And Dwayne Watson.
And I tell you what, we're going to go live to Anjali. Did I get that right? Look at that. I got the thumbs up. That's right, I've got to turn the mic on and make it work. It kind of works that way sometimes. I really, really do mess up, and if I mess up, it's royally for sure. Today we're talking to Anjali Ray here in New Zealand. But Anjali, you're in LA, right?
That's right. I'm in Redondo Beach, California, in the LA area.
Well, welcome to Galaxy. It is an absolute pleasure, and I'm very, very humbled to meet you, my dear. I really, really am. Believe me, the very first song I ever heard of yours was Indigo Boy, and when we played it, it just blew up our internet. Literally, there were people all around the world going, want to know more, literally. Now, you were introduced to us by a young man that we have over there in England by the name of Nick Plews. He's one of our foreign correspondents over there, and he was very, very excited to introduce your music to us. You know, I owe him a debt. I really do, because believe me, I'm very fascinated with your music and want to know all about you. So we kicked it off with Apple of My Eye, which I think is a fascinating song in its own right. I think you better tell us about the lyrics. How did you come to that?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here on your show, and I just really appreciate it. And thank you for all the kind words. I'm so glad my music resonated with you and your audience. Apple of My Eye is a really special song to me. I wrote it right at the beginning of the COVID lockdown. As time went on, I actually wrote it about my niece who lived across the country from me. And during COVID, where we couldn't really see a lot of our relatives who were far away, travel was restricted, and it was this very strange world that we were living in where we were cut off from our loved ones. She sort of grew from a girl to a young lady, and I missed a lot of that, but it's a song about how there are some people in your lives, it's really a transgenerational song, someone singing to someone of the younger generation as they grow, and basically saying, look, even though as you grow, I may not know everything about you, I may not know the person you become, but I will still love you no matter what. So that's where the song came from, and that's what the lyrics are about.
That's fascinating, literally. Do you really know everything about somebody, though?
Yes, I specifically wrote it about my niece. In fact, my sister, so my niece is my sister's daughter, and she had actually said, you write songs about so many kids. I had written songs about my older niece. I had written songs about both my kids. She's like, you've never written one about her. And it wasn't like a why don't you write one about her, but it was an observation. And I said, you're right. And part of it was because she was such a mystery to me. I felt that I didn't know her very well. I still loved her so passionately. And, that sort of became the whole idea of the song was, I don't really know you, but it doesn't really matter. I love you anyway.
I absolutely understand. I really do. Chris Andreas is joining us. Nice to have you on board, Chris. It really, really is. Frankie Blythe is joining us as well. Good evening from Middlesbrough in the UK. Hey, buddy. Nice to have you on board. Literally, Sean Simpson is joining us as well. Hello, darling. Nice to have you with us as well. Now, at the same time, Pauline, coming out of Palermo, Italy, is asking, as a young artist, could you give me some advice on what's successful? What makes you so successful that I can emulate and move on?
Wow, what a profound question. And, boy, do I have about 4 hours to talk about this? Because that's probably what it needs. Success for me has changed shape as the years have gone on. Because also the music industry has changed itself so very profoundly. There used to be a time, I would say, even 2 decades ago, where one actually needed permission to make music, it seemed. It seemed like one had to be anointed by someone empowered to say, okay, you're good enough to actually make a record that sounds professional, and then on you go from there. The world has changed in, honestly, very beautiful ways, where as an independent artist, it's possible for me, it's not easy, but it's possible for me to make the kind of music I want to make. The internet makes it possible. Internet tools make it possible. And, for me, success now is just being able to have my music be heard. I don't even, it's not like I have a target market. Every publicist I work with says, who's your market? And I'm like, I don't care. Whoever will listen, whoever feels a connection to whatever message I'm trying to put out there, because the world is getting smaller and smaller every year. It's changing faster than it ever has in the history of humanity in terms of our connection. So I just want my music to get out there, and if people like it, I want it to be that form of connection. So for me, that's what success means. And I'm not saying I haven't been lucky. I've had some remarkable moments along the way where people who have been well enough connected to show me how to make quality music are actually invested in me in terms of giving me their time. And to that, I would say just keep playing, keep writing, keep making music. It's going to come along that opens a window or a door for you, and it's good to be ready for whenever that happens.
Very, very cool. I do apologise about the outside sound. We're downtown, and unfortunately we've got Kiwi air conditioning happening, which basically means the windows are open. You know what I mean? So I do apologise about that.
I live near an airport, so I know what you mean.
I get it. I really do. Speaking of which, now you're living in LA right now, but tell me about California.
Oh my. So I moved to California. It's been over 20 years now. And when we first came here, my husband and I said, we might stay for a couple of years. And here we are 20 years later. And, where we live here, I don't think there's anywhere else I would rather be in the world other than where I am right now. We've got a wonderful community here, really beloved friends that we've made through the years. And I honestly, I don't know that that's unique to California. I think wherever you kind of grow your life and where your children find fulfillment and happiness is going to be a wonderful place for you to be. But California right now is, the United States is a large place. It's a diverse place. I think, when I was a girl growing up in India, I don't think I could have dreamt to have the kind of life I have now. But, one instantiation after another has brought me here. The weather, of course, is gorgeous. Even though it's starting to rain more than we thought it would, we kind of, frown at that a little bit, maybe raise an eyebrow, but we can't complain. It's a crowded place. It's an open-minded place. There's a lot of energy here, and it's a place that a lot of people aspire to come to. And I feel that energy every day, and I try to be grateful for it.
That's absolutely fantastic. But how about telling me about the lyrics of California?
Oh boy, yeah. So I have two children, and my older son is 16 years old, and it seems like when your kids are little, you don't really see the end in sight. You're just like immersed in diapers for a while, and then you're immersed in, elementary school, and then you're immersed in taking them to sporting events, and they just dominate your life. But then all of a sudden, you reach the apex of the mountain, and you see the end. And it's coming at you faster than you could have imagined. It's literally like you start skiing downhill, and I'm very aware of the fact that my children are soon going to become adults, lead their own lives, pull away, which is a natural and beautiful thing. And my older boy, he had always talked about living in a cold place when he was younger. He said, I want to go to a place that is cold, where there's, high altitude, where there's snow, and, he's on the autism spectrum, and so he's got a very different proprioceptive system, a different way of looking at the world. And of course, as a mom, you're like, I don't want you to go more than maybe a block away from me, right? That's where I'm comfortable. But the song California uses the metaphor of him wanting to go to a cold place, which LA is not, wanting to kind of pull away, and is an acknowledgement that at some point you have to, let them go. You have to let them live their own lives and make their own mistakes. So that's what it's about.
You're right here at Galaxy, and today our feature artist coming out of LA is Anjali Ray. How you feeling? You okay?
Feeling pretty good. How about you?
Oh, I'm elated. Absolutely elated. It's such a pleasure to meet you, sweetie. It really, really is.
And I'm so glad to be here. So where in New Zealand are you guys?
We're on the east coast of the North Island, which is the bigger island. It looks like a fish. We are warmer on this side than on the other side, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But we're just down below Australia. So if you know where Australia is, keep going. Keep going, and you'll find us sooner or later. You really will. And in fact, if you know where Tasman is, which is the little island at the bottom of, that's actually connected to New Zealand by the intercontinental shelf. So
Zealand is definitely on my list of places to visit someday.
Well,
I would love to go there. I would love to take my family.
I tell you what, we'd love to be able to show you around Australia and New Zealand. We really, really would.
Incredible.
So you never know what the future holds.
We might meet in India.
You don't. That is a true statement. You just don't know what's out there.
Exactly. In fact, I had a meeting with a young man this morning coming out of Orlando, Florida. His company is Galaxy Class Entertainment. His name's Michael. He's saying, Grant, I've got a deal. So I'm always open to talk to people about deals. See what happens. We really will. But I like Michael Zdanowicz. He does a good job for his artists. He really does, and is in connect with a lot of radio stations around America. He really is. So we have change coming up. This is your second most requested track.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
1,783 requests so far.
Oh my goodness, that blows my mind.
I'll wait until you hear about Indigo Boy then. Really, because that's after change. I was being informed that we have 168 countries tuned in right now around the world.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome to the Galaxy family.
Thank you.
Because if you do an interview with me, well, you're automatically in there. I'm sorry.
I'll take it.
Nice. I want to talk to you about growing up in India and then suddenly not being in India, but I'm trying to get my head around the 5-year-old playing piano from England, or from the UK, teaching from the UK. I want to try and get my head around that one. Because believe me, at 5 years of age, I was putting 2 stereos together and trying to be a DJ.
Amazing.
It's been in my blood, unfortunately. My mother thought I was fantastic. My dad thought I was nuts.
Your dad was right.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and Anjali Ray is joining us, coming out of LA, and, well, I was just talking to her. She was raised in New Delhi till the age of 10, but she's learned to play the piano at the age of 4. Really. Now, check this out, and I'm going to read this to you verbatim. Learning piano through the British School of Music since the age of 4. Now, how does that work? How do you get to the British School of Music at the age of 4?
Well, so the British School of Music is established in India in certain places. There is a place in New Delhi, or at least there was. I don't know that I've actually followed it since, but it was the British School of Music system, and they had an examination system and grades and tests that you had to go through. And so through that model and through that training, I actually think I started as early as, as you said, 4 years old. I had a wonderful teacher in the beginning. I mean, she was just incredible. And I was told this after the fact. When I first came in for my first lesson, she asked me some funny things. She's like, okay, can you play like a duck walking? I was like, well, of course. Well, this is what it sounds like. And she would ask me to do fairly unconventional things on the piano. And later she kind of told my mother that, I had this in my blood somehow, and that I had to pursue music. I actually only had her as a teacher for maybe a year or two. And then after that, I had another one, but still through the same school of music. So all the way until the age of 10, which is when we moved to the United States, that's the training I had. And then even when I moved to Chicago, it was very formal classical piano training for most of my youth.
Absolutely fantastic how your journey has gone through, literally, and believe me, I've been reading the Bible. I'm absolutely fascinated in how it's come to be to this point right now, and I absolutely love all of your work. Unfortunately, I've only got about 4 tracks, but each and every one of them now, as an engineer, and I've been an engineer now for more years than I want to say, but over about 45 years, I've managed to work with some of the bigger names in the world and some of the biggest studios in the world as far as recording and as well. So I've been a front of house and a studio engineer, so I get an ear for a particular artist, and I absolutely, as soon as I heard Indigo Boy, I myself wanted to know more. As soon as we played it, the world wanted to know more. So believe me, it is an absolute honour to be able to do this morning. It really, really is. And I could tell straight away, seasoned professional, all the way through every single track, and I'm talking Apple of My Eye, California, Change, which is the second most requested track, and Indigo Boy. Let me tell you, people just absolutely connected with your music. They really, really have. And, I'm just kind of wondering, do you really need the change?
Well, so Change, California, and Apple of My Eye are all part of my latest release. And, when we're talking about change, there are definitely some things that I value so many facets of my life, and I'm so appreciative and grateful for them. I keep that in mind every day. But as we age, as we grow, as human beings, change is necessary. Change, for me, there are times where you feel kind of stuck in something, and it can be something like a job, it can be something like a relationship where you absolutely know that you need to do something else. And my husband and I have been talking a lot about career changes. We're also both engineers. We work in the aerospace field. And, we always kind of wonder what else is out there. And, there's only so many years you can do the same thing. Some people do it for 4 decades or more, and that works for them. But I guess you could also just call it a midlife crisis song. I mean, let's just call it what it is, where you just reevaluate what you're doing and you say, you know what, screw it. I don't care how secure I am in what I'm doing. I want to just go on an adventure. I want to try something else out, no matter the consequences. Now, knowing who I am, I probably wouldn't do that because I've got a lot to lose, and that's one of the lyrics of the song. I've got people that depend on me, but there's always that thought of what if you just threw it all away? And, I'm sorry. I know you might think I'm crazy for doing this, but I just need to go experience something else. And so that's what change is all about.
I fully understand that. I've been doing radio since, I used to be the official DJ in Noah's boat. Okay, so I've been around a while, literally. So I absolutely understand where you're coming from. I really, really do. In the meantime, let's get back to the second most requested track here at Galaxy for Anjali Ray. Here's Change. I do got that right, don't I?
Anjali.
Yeah.
With a J. Anjali. Perfect.
Anjali, yeah. I keep thinking I've not got it right. I'm sorry, but...
You know what? I'm used to it. I even told Starbucks once when I got my coffee, I told them my name was Angela just to make it easy. So when they called my name, they said Angola. So there's no winning. It just is what it is.
Fair enough. Absolutely. I do apologise. I don't mean to get it wrong.
Don't apologize. I know you're very close, but it's an unusual name in most places in the world.
Absolutely. I ask everybody this because I'm trying to find the truth in the myth, okay? So, don't take offence, but I'm just wondering, are you by any chance a vegan?
Here we go.
You're not? You're a meatologist like me?
Well, I don't eat beef, and I generally stay away from red meat. Ironically, my husband, who is not Indian, is a vegetarian. So... Okay. But no, I eat chicken. I love seafood. In general, I think I probably eat a lot less meat than the average American. Okay. But I'm not a vegan. I think if I really wanted to, I could probably do it. But I think it would be tough because both my kids are, what did you call them? Meataholics?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both my kids, they love their steak.
So my question is this. Have you ever tried a vegan sausage?
Actually, we did.
Really?
There's available here, and we tried one recently, and, some brands are really good, and some, you just have to say it's not worth it.
Is it made of real vegans or not?
All of them.
Love it. I've often wondered. I mean, honestly, Girl Guide biscuits, not Girl Guide, hey.
My favorite bumper sticker I've ever seen was one that said, "I eat vegans."
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I love that. Anyway, let's go back to the desk. And we've got Indigo Boy up next, so we'll wrap it up after that. But please don't go anywhere because we do some photos, stuff like that as well. That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, and today, believe me, I'm absolutely elated. I see this. Billy McKnight is joining us. Been a while, brother man. Nice to have you on board. It really, really is. And, Laffa, it's back to you, bro. Anjali. I got it right. Right at the death, I got it right. Tell me about Karmography.
Karmography is actually a dance troupe that is here based in LA, and they do incredible shows. They're headed by a friend of mine named Kavita Rao, and I connected with her once I was looking for a way to create a video around my song Indigo Boy. And Karmography takes Indian choreography and it mixes it with so many other dance forms and creates this lovely fusion product. We met because we were actually all playing the wedding circuit at one point. I also have a Bollywood fusion band And we would play here in the LA area. We would play Bollywood songs that had like a jazz delivery. And I met Kavita and Karmography that way. And so for the Indigo Boy video, they did all the choreography and the dance numbers, and we were in San Pedro and recorded the video there, which was really, really fun. So that's who they are.
You know, okay, I absolutely love that. But this was literally the first song that I was introduced. Of course, I'm mentioning Nick Plews again, coming out of the UK. He says, Grant, you've got to hear this. Literally, sent me a copy. Loved it, and unbiasedly, as an engineer, I tried to break it down, figure out how your engineers do. Engineers do that, you know what I mean? We want to find out how other people do their work, literally. So we had to listen to that in depth. And the first thing I said to my production team was, I need Barbara to set up an interview. This is fantastic. So I want to know all about Indigo Boy, but before that, I want to talk to you about Dark Side.
Yeah.
Please tell me about this album.
Yeah, so Dark Side is the EP I recently released, and it's a 6-song collection that includes Apple of My Eye, includes California, and a few other numbers. And, the theme, or the title Dark Side, came to me after all of the songs were done. We were looking for sort of a unifying theme around all of them. And in all of the songs, most of them actually, I think minus Apple of My Eye, there is some lyric or other that talks about light or dark motifs. And it's not really about a dark side in a negative sense. It's about sort of the hidden thoughts that we have, the things that we think about in the wee hours of the night, the parts that really make us unique, the parts that make us interesting, the parts that make us beautiful. And it really is, it's a presentation of deep inner thoughts in a way that's supposed to be, it's a little bit provocative, but it's also beautiful. It's about a time in a woman's life that I don't think is very often explored. I'm in my 40s, and I think it's a market, a creative space that's pretty severely untapped. We've been through so much. We've been through motherhood or parenthood. We've been through some serious career ups and downs. Physically, we've gone through all kinds of changes, and it's incredible ground for creative thinking. And so that's sort of the theme behind Dark Side, something that is not often talked about, but which really should be, and which should be something that's heralded as a beautiful transition for most people.
Now, I got a young man coming out of Ohio, let me get that right. His name's Rajit, and he's saying, are you considering possibly doing a nationwide tour of the States? He would love to come and see you.
Oh, well, that's, first of all, thank you. I don't tour very often. The last big tour I did was probably the one I did in India. Generally, the way I take things, because I have a lot of demands on my time. I'm an engineer. I've got 2 kids that I need to be here for. But generally, when I travel, I try and perform wherever I go. And I do hope to do more recording in the future, and I do live performances via the internet quite a bit. Facebook Live stuff, Instagram Live stuff. So I would love for him to subscribe to my channels and be able to see stuff that way. I do have this dream that I will be, once my kids sort of have moved on and have their own lives, that I'll have all this free time and I'll be able to actually execute a U.S. tour. I would love to do that.
Very, very cool, and well, we would love to be able to see you not only doing a US tour, maybe a world tour in the near future as well. We think you're that good. We really, really do. Having said that, I really do want to get in depth with Indigo Boy, because, believe me, as I said, it was the very first song of yours that I heard, and we really, really worked on it, really broke it down, had a good listen to it, because, believe me, the introductory song for us here, usually that's the one that's the hook that we want to find out whether or not we're going to play this artist on our radio station, you know what I mean? Barbara gets about 200 submissions a day, so she's got to be vicious, literally. Then it goes to production, and Barbara sort of work it out, because we've only got a certain amount of time in a week to be able to do these interviews. Then it's got to be approved by a board before it even comes to me. You know what I'm saying? But
Sure.
Barbara passed this on to production straight away, because she knew first thing in the morning, about 1:30 in the morning, I was going to get into production, and they would have it there waiting for me to have a listen to. So it's very rare that I actually do listen to a lot of music in production. I usually listen to it in my car.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Barbara usually loads it up on a USB device that I Bluetooth through to my stereo in my car. Now, it finally comes down to me whether I want to do the interview. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Initially, I was being influenced by everybody around me. So I said, let's come up with an idea where I can just be alone, have a listen to it on its own merits, and believe me, I've got one awesome stereo in my car. And I listen to music that way while I'm going for a bit of a drive out in the middle of nowhere, so nobody can say, Grant, this is great or this is not.
You get to decide.
I get to decide, do I want to interview this person? For the first time in a long time, I actually heard you for the first time in production, in their gear, running, and I'm sitting there going, absolutely. Now, let's figure out how you put Indigo Boy together as an engineer, you know what I mean? And so there's three of us in there, myself, Toblerone, and Gonzo. Gonzo actually has a blue Gonzo on his desk. That's how he got that name, okay?
Sure.
Toblerone, well, he just likes chocolate. That's my pet names for these guys, literally. But believe me, they do such a great job. Having said that, later I'm going to ask you if you do me some voice tracks that I can play on our radio station as well. Because believe me, we find that if we have the voice tracks, people can identify with it more, especially if the DJs aren't saying anything, so that people know who to ask for. You know what I mean?
Got it, sure.
And that gets your stats up a little bit more as well. It really does. So, Indigo Boy, I want to know everything about this track.
Right. Well, I'm not going to deny that Indigo Boy has been one of the most transformative songs of my musical career. It has. When I moved into the house that I'm living in now, I moved in here about 13 years ago. My neighbor at the time was a producer. And we just chanced to talking, and he said, send me some of your stuff. And so I did, and we kind of went on this journey. Actually, the first song he ever heard of mine that he said, all right, let's work together, was a song called Reality, which is available on all streaming platforms, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, you name it, you can hear it there. And it was a very intimate song I had written with just piano about my son. And we went on a 3-year journey together where he coached me through songwriting. He really helped me be the best songwriter I could be. But one of the things he said was, you cannot run away from your heritage. You have to incorporate your Indian musical history into the songs you're making. It makes you unique. It makes it interesting. And he was very excited about combining that whole thing. His name is Chris Bolden, and he is an incredible producer. And I often think about how ridiculous it is that the universe brought us together through just happenstance. I moved into a house where I became his neighbor. I mean, that's kind of stuff doesn't happen. And so we started working together, and he really encouraged me to come up with something that had a lot of Indian elements, where I had my only vocal training has ever been in what's called Hindustani classical music. And I had learned under a teacher when I was in Chicago. I knew some, I won't say a lot, because to be a student of Hindustani classical music is a lifelong endeavor. I knew enough to be dangerous. And I knew about ragas, and I chose one that I was pretty comfortable with, and which was very unique and not really heard very often in Western music. And I've got my piano here. I'll just play for you what it sounds like. And I said, let me try and fashion a melody around that. That's where Indigo Boy came from. And when Chris heard it, he said, that's it. And the thing that makes it most interesting is the sur that comes, that's the word, that's the Hindi word for it, that comes in the middle of it, where it's almost like a do, re, mi, the Indian version of do, re, mi, fa, and a riff that comes right before that chorus that sets up that chorus to kind of open up and be more Western, because the chorus is more Western than the verse. And that very much represents the duality of my life. I mean, I've spent, my childhood in India, and then came here. I wrestled internally with whether I was American, whether I was Indian, and music always showed me how to be both. And I think that song is one of the most critical examples of how it's possible to be both, and it's possible for it to be harmonious and not clash and not fight, and just how one sets the other piece up to be.
Absolutely, totally understand that. I really, really do. And I think you'll be interested. 3,196 requests for it so far. Still climbing. See your face, see your name, and see Indigo Boy every morning. And believe me, it's such a pleasure to be able to play. You're right here at Galaxy. Good morning. How you feeling? You okay?
Wonderful, wonderful. This is so great. And again, the reason we make the music is for people to listen and for people to connect with it. And I just really appreciate that you've been able to make that happen. So thank you.
Nice. Well, I was being told that we have 4,023 cities in the world tuned in this morning. So, hello. Nice to have everybody on board. It really, really is. We've even got the guard dog in here making sure that we're behaving ourselves. We do. We used to have two, but one passed away a couple of weeks ago. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. One of those things. Literally, I bought them both. They were sisters. I bought them both up from the day they were born because their mother passed away in childbirth. And the guy who had them says, listen, you better take them because I'm just going to pop them on the head and throw them in the river otherwise. Oh. So I dropped and fed them, and they were big enough to put both of them in my hand at the time. Now I couldn't get a paw in my hand.
Yeah.
They're big. Yeah, well, they were anyway, but unfortunately one did pass away just a couple of weeks ago, so it's like losing a member of the family, you know what I mean?
Of course. Honestly, we say that humans don't deserve dogs because they are, sort of the purest representation of love, unconditional love that exists on the planet. And it's just so hard but the model is that, we have to do so. I'm so sorry to hear.
Life. It's life. She was an old girl, I will admit, and, well, it was her time, so we've got to accept that.
She's lucky to have you care for her.
Yeah. And then there's this one. Come on.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, so, she's the last of the guard dogs. She really isn't. To be very honest, she was the thinker, the other one was the doer.
She's getting old.
So, she's getting old.
How's she doing without her friend and sister?
She's clinging to her father like tomorrow, literally.
Yeah.
You know,
I bet.
she was always my girl, but now she's more so.
Yeah.
You know,
Shadow.
literally, she is my shadow.
Squeeze her tight.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Good girl. She's well trained too, by the way. Even if I do say so myself.
Good job.
You're going to get a copy of everything. Make a movie for you, send you a copy of that. I usually tell people, show it to people you don't like.
Sure.
But if you show it to people you don't like, usually that puts a fire under their tuchus and they're getting in touch with us saying, hey, we've got a band too, you know. It's weird how that works. When we first started doing this 10 years ago, Barbara and I started doing this, we thought we'd be happy with 10 people to watch. Okay? I'll give you the numbers at the end of this. You will be surprised.
Bring people into the fold, and it's wonderful.
Anyway, we'll wrap it up from here.